Okay. See if she can see what's going on. Go down and take the feet. Folks that are coming in, well, we're going to start in a couple minutes, but we actually we're broadcasting this right downstairs, so it's a little more comfortable. You can also, if we're going to overflow, because I know a lot of extra people came today. Just go downstairs, the studio directly below 220, and it's all broadcast there, so you'll be part of the mix at least, okay? We'll start in a minute or two, just making sure everything's going to work. Also, folks can grab a couple chairs out of these rooms that they want to bring out here. You can open those, bring a couple chairs out. I'm going to still wait because we're on the roof behind here, but there's also room downstairs.
Did wrong. The audio quality is still going through, so or the audio. So
Okay.
I'm gonna ask him. Do you know if that can go to another room? The mic.
It's mic. I don't know. There's this weird hookup where it takes the output here and there. So basically, Roland's the only one who would know how to hook that up.
Yeah.
So what does it sound like when I'm just?
It just sounds like you're in like underwater or something. So I'm thinking the most ideal thing would be to mute this, and then you're using the mic.
But you can't hear that downstairs.
The mic?
What mic?
Like that sound can't go downstairs.
Oh, we gotta find Roland. He's gonna do that. Go. Let's just run around the building and try to find him.
This is supposed to be easy money, right?
Oh my goodness. Okay. There's plenty of place to lay down in the front. There's people laying down in the front. I like this aesthetic. It's good. It's like a whole. So sorry, we're a little. There's a lot of people that I think are coming that also we haven't settled all the enrollment yet. But also, welcome. I'm sorry we don't have the setup working correctly for downstairs. I'm not sure. I think we're missing one little cable or something. So I apologize for that. We'll have to just all be live on the edge. Do a little fire code violation to start the semester off, right? Yeah, I prefer sure people aren't standing, so is there any other, we can get benches, tables, like there's chairs in these rooms, people can compress up. There's a whole beautiful front row here. It's really luscious. Let's pull some chairs in the very front. I'm not doing any dance performance this time, so it's all good. I don't need all this room. It's just not, obviously it's not that fun when you're standing during class. I stand for the class, but I'm moving around. All right, we're going to start. Welcome back. Yay! Who over break experienced snow? Who did some beach sand related thing? Who just vegged out and enjoyed it? Okay, good. Good sampling. All right, first data set. All right, let me just start the reading here. So we'll be reading a small excerpt from The Innovators by Walter Isaacson. I'm going to cut into a little section here talking about early days of Google. The billion-dollar question was whether PageRank would actually produce better search results. So they did a comparison test. One example they used was searching university. In Alta Vista and other engines at the time, that would turn up a list of random pages that might happen to use the word in their title. And then this is Larry Page saying, I remember asking them, why are you giving people garbage? Page said. The answer he got was that the poor results were his fault, and he should refine his search query. There's Page talking again. I learned from my human-computer interaction course that blaming the user was not a good strategy. So I knew they fundamentally weren't doing the right thing. That insight, that the user is never wrong, led to the idea that we would produce a search engine that was better, which Page ranked the top results for result search for university or Stanford, Harvard, MIT, University of Michigan. I don't know why I didn't say Berkeley here. It's obviously air, something in this book. Is it correct? Wow, Page recalled saying to himself. It was pretty clear to me that the rest of the group that if you have a way of ranking things based on not just the page itself, but based on the world throughout that page and the words throughout that page, that would be a really valuable thing for search. So the lesson is that, in fact, even things that you don't think have a background in HCI draw huge inspiration. And in fact, even Google and products that really leverage system design, good computer science and engineering. Also, the insight was that Larry Page sat in a classroom. Unfortunately, he was at Stanford. That's the one problem. But an HCI classroom, and he learned that, in fact, users aren't wrong. In fact, that was one of the insights that people said, well, you should think more like a computer. If you formed your query right, it'll all work out for you. Come back later, thank you. And in fact, he took that insight and he knew that was something he could innovate around. So welcome to 160. I know we're tight today. We will work on all these issues, the burning questions of enrollment and other things. But welcome to the fabulous Jacobs Hall. I know we're packed. Who's been in here before? Who's never been? It's their first visit. Yay, welcome. Okay, natural light, bonus. This class, we used to teach 160 down in 306 soda, dark, dingy, right? Okay. So let's launch into this a little bit. So first off, this is a class about human-computer interaction, computer science course. And first order of business, who saw Star Wars over break or any time? Did anyone look for the HCI elements and design features in Star Wars? hopefully you just enjoy the movie. But I'll talk about this in a minute, okay? Because some of these Hollywood movies are actually drawn from HCI research. Believe it or not, that's just, I try to just enjoy the movie, but then I get caught up in all the other experiences. But Ray is awesome, so it's a cool movie. All right. I also have 2 kids, so I'm required to see it many times. So a little bit about the class. I'm going to do some introductions. I'm going to talk about enrollment. I'm going to talk about the metrics, all the things that hopefully you want to know about today, and a little bit about what HCI is and a little flavor of that. Now, the first thing is we need to take attendance. So everyone just yell out your name all at once, and I'll get it. Maybe not. Go to this URL. And it will probably crash the server because everyone goes at the same time. This URL will appear 3 more times throughout today's lecture. So fear not if you do not have it at this time. You go there, and we need to know who's here. We don't take enrollment all the time, but we need to know because we're trying to finalize the enrollment. So I'll give you another 10 seconds, but this URL will appear 3 more times. So fret not, do not panic, do not sweat it out. Okay? Obviously, do not forward this to your friends sitting at home having like a latte. Okay? You have to be in the class. All right. Let me tell you a little about myself. My name is Eric Paulus. I once was indeed an undergrad here with a lot more hair, a lot longer time ago. And I also went to grad school here. After that, I went to Intel Research, which is a research lab that was here in Berkeley for a while. Did some really cool projects there. Then I got a chance to be faculty at Carnegie Mellon University at the Human Computer Interaction Institute. I was there about 4 years and got the chance to come back here. I've been back for about 4 years now and love it. So go Bears, really exciting. That's a little bit of my background. Now, just one little vignette into that timeline, possibly before many of you were born, but back in 1995 when I was a grad student, this was the cool kick-ass technology I had. I had this cool Mosaic browser. I had this really cool piece of kind of personal technology, this Palm Pilot. I was using really cool social media, which meant the Well and Usenet. And the idea was to build some kind of futuristic version of kind of telepresence. I was doing robotics at the time. And the early versions of that I did with, at the time, my advisor was John Canning. We looked at sort of, could we design these kind of personal telepresence tools? We prototyped many of them. You can see me with more hair there. And we put them in these situations where maybe you could use them for remote kind of collaboration and troubleshooting, expert kind of things. But we also had fun with it. We brought it out to Telegraph. We talked to people. We ended up wandering around. We looked at it not just as the sort of technical advance, but also the social impact of what it would mean to hang out and have a remote presence. We got our tarot cards read. And throughout that time, this was kind of what some drawing in my dissertation looked like. It was kind of explaining all the kind of this technology, the interconnects, and now we kind of have this view. So, you know, years of my life is now something you just go buy, and then an app for 99 cents. So my whole dissertation's like maybe $19.99. But it really launched the whole area. So now you see these devices. Someone just generated this and sent this to me. So the work we did is way at the top, and now you know the whole ecosystem of kind of social telepresence and sort of remote telepresence devices. And even there's a picture on the left are pictures from my dissertation where I looked at, you know, applications from, like I said, remote expertise, kind of hanging out, and then also kind of how you might control this through, we envisioned this tablet, which didn't quite exist, and how that would work. And then on the right are sort of the product relations from Double Robotics. So the point is, I have lots of failures, don't get me wrong. I just care to not share them all now. I'll share them later in the semester. But the point is that you often have to envision the future in really radical ways. And that was kind of understanding this kind of human experience. At Intel, I worked more on these projects around urban landscapes. So I ran this group called Urban Atmospheres, which was trying to deconstruct the activities in public urban spaces and look for where technology would emerge. Some things took the form of objects you would imagine, like early mobile phones, but we also did trash cans, park benches, all kinds of other objects. I went to Carnegie Mellon. I ran a group called the Living Environments Lab. We did things around citizen science. kind of eco kind of projects, a number of other things, and some design. And now I run this hybrid ecologies group here. And not till probably the end of the semester, I'll touch on some of the work and research directions on that. But that just gives you a little bit of background of me and who I am. This is like a broad picture of the last couple of years where my group of grad students and undergrads where we've published and done things in design research, and kind of we do a lot of things with making and digital fabrication. If you dig deep, I also work with survival research labs doing very large mechanical kind of robotic performance pieces, and I'm also part of the Berkeley Center for New Media, so I have a lot of new media art pieces as well. Hopefully I get to meet many of you up throughout the semester, but probably the coolest thing I'm also excited about is we just ran this class last semester, and we learned a lot from it. And I've taken a poll from everybody who took the class last semester and gotten a lot of feedback. Yes, we know about the official form you have to fill out every semester, but we asked our own questions anonymously. Got a lot of good feedback about the things that were awesome about the class and the things that just sucked, okay? And we've been sitting as a team and reformulating how to change the class, so we'll be definitely different from last semester and hopefully a lot better. So we've learned a lot, and just like you'll learn in this class, this iterative design cycle, we're trying to do that with this class. So we're really excited about it. A lot of things worked well, some things didn't last semester, and hopefully we fine-tuned it and we got a really exciting class that will do a lot of great design work in here. One great element of that and the strength is that I don't know why, but somehow all the GSIs that were with me last semester are, I don't know, glutton for punishment and decided to stick around and go at it again. So we have a lot of experts that know all the tricks and probably can predict where the struggles are going to be in the class, and they're ready. Okay, they have been part of this. I want to introduce them. The first one is Ji, who's the kind of head GSI for the class. There she is. Yay! She will say something.
Hi everyone, I'm Jingy, and I apologize for my voice because I am sick, but that does not mean I am any less enthusiastic to be teaching. So I took this class this past summer. It was the first semester that we did Android Wear, and as Eric said, I TA'd it last semester when we also did Android Wear, and now we get to TA it again this semester where we're doing Android Wear yet again. So if you have any Android questions, come to me, and it's my pleasure. I also do research in HCI under a different professor at your department, so if you want to talk about any of the design groups on campus, come have a chat.
Great. Okay. So we have a couple of new additions, and one is Peggy, who is a graduate student. This is what a student just about to graduate looks like. Look, that is what they look like. This is Peggy.
Hi everyone, I'm Peggy Chi. I'm a grad student and now I'm in my last year of PhD. And I do research, and my research focus is on designing authoring tools and creativity tools for users, end users. So I work at different research labs before in industry, including Google, Adobe, and Microsoft Research. So I'll be happy to share my research experience as well as design. Thank you.
All right, returning, Diane.
Hi everyone, I'm Diane. I'm a third year here, and this is my fourth time in a row being involved in this class. So this class has made a huge difference on what I do and who I am, so I'm really excited to be able to share it with you. Thanks, guys.
All right, also returning again for the second batch, Jasper.
Hi everyone, my name is Jasper. I do research under Eric, focusing on multi-device user interfaces and the Internet of Things. I'm really excited to be teaming again. If you want to come to my section, come to my office hours, I want to help everyone here make the best UI that they can, so I'm really excited to meet everyone.
All right, and taking a little time off, but returning, Shane.
So I'm Shayna, I'm a fourth-year CS major. I taught this class last spring, and then since then I decided to take the fall semester off to intern. So I was a design prototyping intern at 53 this summer, and in fall I was a product design intern at Facebook. So if you have any questions about what product design is like at industry, at a big company or a small company, feel free to come talk to me. Always happy to help out.
All right, and so that's our amazing GSI lineup. Also returning, Serena, who's going to be our head reader. We have a great slide of the leaders as well.
So, hi everyone, I'm Serena. I'm a computer science and cognitive science major here. I do biophysics research and I'm writing my thesis in computational neuroscience. I was a reader last semester and I'm a reader this semester. And I'm super excited for this semester and to see all the great stuff that you guys make.
Okay, another return reader.
Hey, I'm Matthew. I'm also a little bit sick, and I also read last semester for this class. I'm a third-year EATS junior, and let's see, I do research at HCI with Andrew Head. Yeah.
All right, and also Neil's going to be joining us this year, and we get a cat as part of the additional package, free.
Hey guys, I'm a senior. My name is Neil, if you can't read. I'm studying computer science and economics. I'm also doing research under Professor Palos. That's my cat, her name is Belle. Thank you.
Let's give him a hand. This is the cool. I'm super excited because this class is like a lot to manage, and I feel like it's in really good hands, and we're going to do some really great design work this semester. And, sorry, office hours, there's no office hours for the cat. It's just not going to happen. We couldn't get a room available. I know, maybe Neil could work something out. Okay, what's this class about? It's a little bit different, and you gotta like, our last semester, our word was experiment, because the class was a big experiment. I think, you know, this year is really about being, this is a very different kind of class, because most computer science classes you're asked to make something work and conform to a certain criteria, be that criteria, it sort of just functions or it compiles, or it actually computes in some kind of, you know, particular time or space bound or things like that. This is really thinking about the user experience. So we're never going to really care if you use a ton of memory or there's some strange kind of process. What was the experience to the user? That's what we're going to be looking at focusing more on. It's about designing an interactive prototype. You're going to be doing field work, prototyping things, and user testing. All these kind of, we're going to be looking for these obvious and not so obvious mistakes. This is our little theme. I always choose some little background. You won't really see it again, but that is the background from a PDP 8. So we will not be programming on this. I couldn't get enough for the class to use, sorry. The project, what are we going to work on this semester, okay? So here's the first experiment. I thought maybe, well, we could do something with little robots, maybe, I don't know, we could prototype something. No. Maybe something wearable, right? So this is Ivan Sutherland, who, great HCI pioneer. We'll talk about him later in the class. This sort of Damocles, which you saw the video rolling at the front. That was very, very early 1968 era. That's even before I was born. Sort of augmented reality. Maybe we want something like this kind of, like a smartwatch or something, which we alluded to last time. So we thought maybe we could prototype a smartwatch. Got a little challenging. Maybe that's for a future version of this class when we use more kind of design tools. So I went deep. I sort of suited up, see what I could play with, try to figure out if there's any way we could design something that would be a compelling and really connected user experience. This is actually, I was just getting some tests run, and they did this, and I go, you do know there's wireless technology. Like, this is really the setup. This is insane. So I thought we should do something with a smartwatch, right? So that's what we did last semester. Here's the sort of smartwatches. But what smartwatch to use? So got this one, maybe. No? No, analog watch, but cool. You can hear it ticking, that's what I like about it. Well, that's all I got. This watch. No? That's the talk watch that we used in 2014. So, no. How about the Moto 360? That's what we're going to use, okay? So, we are going to be using it because it has some really interesting form factors, and it also works well with Android and Android Wear. We have a lot of prototyping tools available for it. So I'm just further disrobing, right? You could say. Okay, so like I said, we use this talk watch, which the advantage was actually every single student got one, and you got to keep it. Sorry, I can't do that with like 200 students this time. This is what we used last time. And new, the same thing. Okay. The only time you'll see me use that goofy lens effect. That was it. You missed it. Then sorry, it's not going to happen again. Okay. So we're going to focus on smartwatch and mobile applications in here. And as part of that, we're going to be working with at least a lot of software tools. Of course, we're going to work with Android Studio, computer science class. We're going to do things. We're going to have to program. We're not going, this is not a class where we're going to teach you how to program. We expect you to have basic skills using something like 61B. Although if you are, have other sort of experience, then that also can work as well. But it's a design class too. So we're not just going to sit around programming all day. We're going to do things with different design tools. We expect you to be able to have at least some platform that you can download the whole Adobe Creative Suite as a student. You have access to this. We're going to be using Illustrator and InDesign and all these things later in the semester. You also have to, we had this problem last semester where some students, they had like such little disk space on their computer. It was like, yes, I know you have a computer, but you've got to like free up some disk space to install this stuff because enough to kind of run Android Studio and run some of the emulators and things. There will be some class accounts which I'll hand out for people that need access to that as well. A little bit more about requirements. So obviously upper division course, and you're going to work extensively on a programming assignment in a group. I ended up with the teaching staff, we formed the groups. We're going to base that on a petition that we send out a little later this semester so that we understand who you are. We'll try to balance skill sets with that. So let's see. Yeah, I mentioned most of this. Now, you're going to be using, obviously, when we get to the projects and people are in groups, every group, we're going to give you a Moto 360 watch that you can use. Someone from your group must have access to or to be able to use an Android phone. We're not going to require you to have an Android phone in the class. That's one of the first changes last year when everybody had to have one. They're actually pretty cheap and you can get one and it's a nice thing to have. We can get through the first couple assignments without having a physical phone. We can sort of look at your designs on an emulator. When we move into the project, we're going to need the phone. So you don't have to buy the phone. And when you get your group, which will be like kind of week 4-ish or 5-ish, then someone's going to have to have a phone or you'll have to purchase one. Questions about that? Okay. Oh, you can't use a tablet because it's just the way it configures it doesn't work correctly. Okay, this is just, if you really do want to buy a phone, this is like a quick grab. They're not like $500, they're pretty reasonably priced. Okay, let's talk about enrollment for a second. So this class used to be around, actually a long time ago, it was like 40 students, and then it was 60, and then it was 80, then it was 100, and then it was like 120, and we just decided we could sort of have better facilities here. We actually have, you might not notice it because we're kind of jammed in here, but we have the whole building now. So, and we're going to use it. We're going to run downstairs during certain classes. We're going to set up and do design work downstairs and upstairs. We're going to be moving around this. Today, it's kind of dry. I'm going to lecture. I'm sorry, it's just the way the first class rolls, but later we'll be able to hopefully do some more exercises. So we're looking to enroll twice as many people. So that's roughly 200 students. The enrollment now is at, I think, 220 something. I don't touch the enrollment. I basically, it's managed based on how everyone enrolls on their what is it, the telebears enrollment, things like that. Actually, when I was an undergrad, you actually did use a telephone. Am I enrolled? So that's how weird it was. So we're going to see where things stand. We're gonna take attendance. I'll put the URL up again. We're gonna, hopefully I'll make a call to you to say near the end of class, if you're out, if you really feel like you're on the fence or maybe you don't want to wait to take this class, drop the class, because there are like 100 and something people that want in this class, and there's no way I can take 100 more, but if there's people that really want to take it, I would really like to take them. We'll be pulling off kind of in wait list order, so if you were number like 200 on the wait list, you're probably not going to get in. It's just the way it works. And if you're sort of a smaller number, maybe rather than me tweaking it every couple hours, I'm going to wait until I think like late next week or so, and then I will look at what the enrollment kind of is. So please drop. Also, when you drop, I can't tell for 24 hours. So even if a bunch of people drop today, I won't even know till tomorrow. So this is what I kind of already mentioned. We'd like to take people off the wait list. The reason it's hard for us to just take more is kind of you don't get as much contact time with us, and also when we do these critiques, it ends up being like the math would be everyone works the whole semester, and we have 17 seconds for you to show us the project. That's what the math would work out, right? So it's not fair. You really want to have a longer critique, and so to do that, we can't manage that many groups. So the structure is a little bit different because we're going to be doing somewhat lectures at the beginning, and I would say this is just introducing you to this foundational design material. What is HDI? What is the terminology? How do you use it? The assignments will reflect you being able to kind of use those tools. We're going to try to record some of the lectures. I think we have this one being recorded. There's going to be a midterm on March 16th. So if you're getting married that day, either go drop this class and get married, or call off the wedding and get this class. I don't know, where are your priorities? Think about it. That's right before spring break. After spring break, it'll feel very different. We're going to be doing more studio-based work, and we have a bunch of different activities, and we'll be working more hands-on. We'll be in your groups. There'll be less of me just talking at you, and we'll be doing lots of kind of critiquing the projects and really giving you time to iterate your designs on the final piece of work. That's kind of the basic structure. So that means that there's the studio later in the class, they're more, we have to have you be here. It doesn't make sense if we go, all right, we're ready to work with your group. They're like, yeah, they're not here. So you have to be at those classes. There's a final critique during RRR week. I don't know the exact date yet. I will tell you as soon as I possibly know. But don't buy your ticket to, like, I don't know, Cancun and say, like, I don't know, you can tell us, like, there's going to be something that week. So there is no final. Oh, look, here it is again. There's the URL. Please sign in. We will drop you if you don't sign in. Make sure you sign in. That's a second chance. There will be more. Remember, be very serious. If you're just tentatively like a little bit into the class but not sure, take a walk around, I don't know, the campus, the Berkeley Hills, the marina, wherever you need to go, get on BART, I don't know. Think about it and figure out if you really want to take this class, because as you can tell, there's a lot of people that really are passionate about HCI, want to be in this, and if you have the flexibility, you go, maybe I'll do it again. This class is offered every semester. It will be offered again in the spring and in the fall. And bonus, you won't have to take it from me. So you'll get some new experience, right? So drop immediately. All right. Let's talk about what HCI is a little bit and some more course overview. So clearly the acronym talks about humans, and what we need is people, the context of where they're using technology, how they're touching it, how they're actually like experiencing it. All this is the kind of way we look, and part of this class is, for the first time, you will go out of the computer lab and talk with people. What are you doing with this technology? And you'll watch people, and you will learn to observe things, and you will learn to take your designs, and some of them will be very unpolished. They will be made out of paper or cardboard. I'll bring some of that next class, and you will get feedback. It's also CS class, so we're talking about computers, but not just, desktops and laptops. Obviously, a computer as a phone, as a watch, as something you might wear on your skin. All these kinds of things are computational. So when you start thinking about that, what kind of interaction do you want with those experiences? So how do you touch it? where do you touch it, what kinds of feedback, all these things are interesting. This is some of the faculty that you probably know are in this area. They're not all the way into computer science, so if you're coming from computer science, you might not know some of them. Myself, Bjorn, John, Marty, then people in iSchool, and even folks in mechanical engineering and elsewhere like Alice Agagino. This is some very crude and not meant to be like a flower, but I guess it looks like it. These are sort of touch points of where HCI work at least goes on campus, because you might hear these terms come up. BID, Berkeley Institute of Design, the Visual Computing Lab over in Soda, the Invention Lab, which I direct over at Siddhartha Dai Hall, and I'll be putting a little plugs for that because you should join, and it's awesome. The Swarm Lab over in Corey Hall, the Berkeley Center for New Media, where I also have a faculty appointment. Those are all kind of places that go on with design work, and also here. So this is our home. This is what it looks like when the sun goes down. I actually took this picture, so it does look like that. It's not a Photoshop or like Instagram filter. That is actually what it looks like. And this class, we don't actually use all the things in this building. This building is meant to support you, actually. This building was not set up to be a cool place for like faculty to hang out and grad students to do like research. It was set up for undergrads to do education around design. So it's supposed to really support the things you do. There's only a couple offices in here that have kind of faculty. So one of the things is there are lots of digital prototyping and fabrication equipment. There's 3D printers, there's laser cutters, there's all kinds of electronic prototyping and circuitry. So if you want, either you already know how to use that and you want to use more of it, so you can do that here or at the Invention Lab, you can also do that. Or, you know, you could learn these skills. Now, they won't be required of the class. I'm not going to require you to go, everyone has to go laser cut something or 3D print something, but there are holidays coming up and gift giving, and there's Valentine's Day, and there's like graduation. People might need gifts, so you can make them gifts. It's from the heart, right? To do that, there's a slightly divergent path. You have to actually sign up and get the gold ticket. To get the gold ticket, you pay $75 for a maker pass, and that gives you access also to the building after hours. Okay, not like all night, but I think till 11 or midnight. So something like that. Now, this is a very cool thing because there are a lot of people that want maker passes. They're not eligible because they're not taking a class in Jacobs. You have already got half the gold ticket because you're taking a class in Jacobs. So consider signing up. I'm not going to require it mainly because it's just we don't need to do a bunch of 3D printing in this class, but for those of you who want to go that direction, please consider it. So again, this human-computer interaction that we're looking at the end user programs. We're looking at kind of what's running, what's the actual kind of computing engine that works, and how is the computer communicating with us. Now, I should probably warn you, if you take this class, a couple caveats. Number one, and I guarantee you go talk to people who took this class before, it's going to mess you up. It's going to mess you up because we're going to show you how to critique design interaction, and you're going to see how much bad design is around you, and it's going to bother you so badly, you're going to have like sweats about it. You're going to be like trying to buy a ticket at a BART thing, and you're going to be like, why did they not use the heuristic principles of the process? This is so obvious. You're going to be trying to get cash out of an ATM. You're going to be using like a website. You're going to go, oh my gosh, these people, why did they not take this class? So you're going to be in a lot of pain and suffering. My life is hell because of just knowing this stuff. I'm telling you, because if you want out, that's an out. Just leave, and then you can live in the world of bad design. It's going to be fine. You're not going to notice, but once you take this class, I guarantee you, like, oh no, it's bad. Two is, if you take this class and you go off and you hopefully do some really great work, some of you will go off and do startups or go to kind of companies or start your own or go to sort of graduate school or academia. If I end up that you hopefully get a chance to design some great experiences for us, be they products, services, things like that. If it's a bad design and I find out you took this class, I will hunt you down, okay? I have a lot of miles built up. I can fly a lot of places, okay? Because if we talk to you in this class and I go, he or she took this. Why is she doing that? Was she in charge of that project? Oh, I'm flying out there. So that's the warning. Yes, you're worried about your grade. Worry about me 3 years from now when I'm like, hey, what's going on? Remember heuristic evaluation? What's going on with this? Okay. So, sorry. So another thing is we will sometimes talk also about some other topics that maybe seem less about computers but are very important about design. So things about typography and graphic design, layout, things around communication through visual design, ergonomics, and more human factors. Whoa, cool. Yeah, I don't know how we turned them on. Yeah, this is one of these first lessons. Like, if it needs a sign, it's bad design, right? Usually, right, it's like signs like, please don't touch the button right, touch left. No, don't. Touch this first. Like, why is there so much information? Let me show you something from a design from like the early '90s. Just a little. It's a little video. It's dated. Let's just watch it.
Right, so I think it's about 1 o'clock now. It's when you're going to come to the football. It's the weather's a bit wet and rainy, so understand if you don't. Other than that, well, it's good when you do it. Okay. Bye.
3:45 p.m.
Hi, Nina, it's Val.
3:30 p.m. Hello, Mr. Simon Phillips. Your flight is BA 6213 at 12:30, Monday, 15th October. The job number is BS 436215, and the date of address is 44 Camden Mansions, Kempton Mall. Goodbye. 2:45 p.m.
Hello, Simon, it's George. Could you give us a ring? My phone number is... Talk to you later. See you. Bye.
Okay, what was that? What was that? I know we don't have many of them now. Work with me. This was from 1992 and 91. Yeah, it's like a voicemail. It was basically it's a project by Daryl Bishop who envisioned what we'll get to in this class, direct manipulation. That before these were abstract concepts about mail or voicemail, but what if each message was a physical object and you could move it around and it would have different meaning? Like maybe you put it in your pocket and remember, you play it back later. Maybe you leave it someplace. Maybe it would do some action when you set it on a device that made sense, i.e. Internet of Things from 1992, and it would do something like make a phone call. So this is an example of very early kind of tangible computing when people first started to think about what would it mean to physically interact with something. We do this a little bit more commonly now. This is really early work. It ends up that some folks came through and saw this, and it inspired something that probably all of you have seen. Anyone hazard to guess?
I'll get this. I think I'll get one for myself while I'm at it.
Minority Report, right? So from 2002, basically, the people that did Minority Report basically came and talked to HCI researchers and said, what do you got? What's going on? Like, what are we going to have in the future? They came in the 90s and they saw these ideas, which kind of, you will see how HCI influences them, which leads me back to my Star Wars reference, because you will see very much in the very center of this photo a director that may be involved with Star Wars, talking to HCI researchers. This was just about 2 months ago. This, I'm not cool enough to be in this, unfortunately. I wish I could say I was in there and like, yeah, we're JJ and I are hanging out, he's gonna come talk to class. That's not happening, sorry. But he does talk to a lot of kind of producers, and it's not that this class is about Hollywood and movies, but people look towards not just computer scientists, but what are the compelling experiences and how will we use them in the future? So extra credit if you get to talk to J.J. Abrams about HCI. Okay, that's what I'll say, I'll leave it at that. Let's talk more about user interfaces a little bit. So some of you, sometimes we'll be looking at really classic work because it's important to know where the field came from. So that often starts with things like screens and windows. Of course, we'll talk about more modern things, you know, using phones and smartwatches and other kinds of experiences like skin-based. And I will show a lot of research work as well, but really focusing on new kinds of input devices. Now, why would we even want to study this? What do people think? Why would we want to study this? All right, no reason. We'll just go. Okay. Well, why do you show up for class? Yeah, we want to design these experiences. We of course want to have computers that can do the computations, but we also want to be able to design the kinds of human experiences that we want. So another reason is sometimes you'll say, well, that's not really computer science. In fact, I don't even know, like, it's like you do all the real CS and then you get the design team, they kind of come in and they kind of fix it up and make it all cool, fonty, colory looking, right? So it ends up that, in fact, you see here the average of almost half the code of very large projects is really designing the HCI part. And I'd say it's just as important also when it's you're sort of further going through the design phase and maintenance phase. Who studies user interfaces? Well, certainly like real teams that are doing this kind of work. You're going to work on real software, and also sometimes if their designs are done poorly, they cost money, they cost lives, and they're also a pain. I mean, there's so much time lost in bad interfaces. I already warned you how you're going to start down this path of seeing how much time is wasted through like extra levels of interfaces and not having system status visible. All these terms you'll learn, you go, oh, this, I can't believe I've been living in this world. This class is like a big therapy session for me now. So here's like an example, right? So there was, some of these are life-threatening, right? So we had an airplane that had an autocomplete function, and the person wanted to approach Rosero Airport, type the R, boom, auto-completed, wrong airport, wrong altitude, wrong height setting, wrong everything. People's lives were lost. Sometimes it's the visual design. This is a similar, sort of airplane setting where there were two different controls for adjusting the kind of descent rate, and they only differed by a decimal point in the visible sort of output. So that was the only way to know what mode you were in. We're going to talk about modes a lot in this class. And of course, that also caused a descent that was much too rapid, and again, a crash. We all know about this problem, right? Yeah, we're all guilty of that a little bit. No hands, we know. But sometimes it's not even about, it's about saving time or just really big things. The presidential election, I was there. First of all, certainly the design of the ballot with the hanging chads for the 2000 election, that's a design flaw, right? And we'll get to this a little later in the class. And more recently, I mean, I didn't watch this ridiculous Miss Universe thing, but I know the backstory. And I saw that picture and I thought, who designed that stupid car? That is the worst graphics design. How can you even, I wouldn't even know who won. What a ridiculous thing. So well, there's another HCI problem right there. It's a design problem. One iteration of this class, boom, we'd have that solved, and we would, I don't know, I'm not, yeah. So it's every place. Who are the kinds of people that end up building these interfaces? Of course, it's people like graphic designers and people like yourselves, but you also end up, the cool thing about this class is it gets to be very interdisciplinary. So you end up working in teams, you get to think about all the different people you'll communicate with on a design. This is our sort of calling mantra. I can guarantee you now, in fact, hey Siri, remember to put this slide on the midterm? Okay, so we know this is gonna be a midterm question. But this idea of, we go through this cycle. You design, that's the way we'll talk about kind of how you design and what kinds of things are in design. You prototype things, then how to evaluate them. And we'll talk about all these different ways to do all these. How do you do different kinds of design? How do you do different kinds of prototyping? How do you do different kinds of evaluation? Then how do you cycle through and iterate? So sometimes it's building these really successful interfaces. We'll do things like task analysis, and these are subjects that we'll cover throughout the semester, contextual inquiry, do some rapid prototyping, and all this iteration. So things like task analysis and contextual inquiry are where you're watching someone do a task. We go into this a lot more later in the semester. It could be looking at how people use their phones at a farmer's market, how people walk on the street, get on a bus, they're carrying handbags, right? You always see these commercials where a person is sort of perfectly using their device. They're like, yes, I have my hands fully free, and I have all the time in the world, and it's quiet where I am. It's perfect. Technology, right? But you're gonna go, that's false. I'm going out there, that person has a handbag, they're carrying a cup of coffee, they're trying to balance something, they would never use that interaction. So that's the kind of things we're going to gain insight by looking at how people work. We're going to understand not to just pull people into some lab, but watch where they're working and say, what's all these sticky notes you have up? Like, oh, that's my to-do list. Oh, so you don't use the computer. Okay, information. We're going to prototype things. We get to do work a little bit with paper and cardboard to just kind of flesh out some designs. You will think, well, why don't we just build apps and do this? We will introduce you some programming tools that let you prototype things. But we also want you to feel very flexible, that your first thought should be to go to kind of paper and things like that. We'll talk about evaluating things, so using, where are people looking or clicking on a screen. Maybe we won't be doing setups like this, but this will be more controlled setup where we really want to analyze what is a person doing while they're using our interface. They're much higher cost, but better quality of results and data. I would say overall, we want you to learn to design and prototype and evaluate interfaces. And there's a lot of kind of points here about that, which I won't go into now, but they're all part of the kind of course context. Because we do believe these are the kind of skills you'll use in your future careers. Many of you might be taking this class because you do want to do really design work, you want to do that kind of front end work. Maybe you just want to personally have this skill. Maybe many of you, it's also to help communicate. You want to really do more kind of the engineering kind of systems design, but knowing how to design with a sort of thinking forward to how to work with a design team and having the kind of framework from that standpoint is really useful. So the difference, and I think difference is like kind of like our mantra, because like I said, this class is much more about here's what's going to be challenging. There's not going to be one right answer. We're going to give out a homework, we're going to give out these exercises, and you go, okay, you're used to, all right, I know what the answer is, I'm going to just make the answer. There's not one right answer, because we will write them in such a way that they will have constraints, but give you latitude to actually express your design skills. And we will, of course, want something to be functional and perform to some metric, but then we will say, how well did you take the lessons from class and design a compelling experience? And I'll get to show some examples, and you'll get to see some of your classmates. You'll see like very same design brief, very different user experiences resulting from that. Yeah. All right, a little bit more about the overview of the class. So I already mentioned the theme around smartwatches, and I think the reason is they're a little bit open territory. What I mean is that if I tell you we're going to do website design, there's a lot of existing practices and layouts and sort of rubric around what should be the way that these should be designed and the user feedback given. Even smartphones and apps have a typical design language. I think for smartwatches, it's still emerging, and you guys can participate in that conversation by hopefully by the end of the semester presenting us with some compelling new way that we could use these kind of computers on our wrist to do something radically different. So they have all these issues, right? They're smaller screens. You're all going to learn that all of us have a problem. It's called the fat finger problem. We have a very fat finger when we're trying to touch little things. And so the input is very constrained, but it has these cool features that's always available. So the person with their coffee or whatever can actually kind of access it. You can see things. So that creates some compelling cases of new opportunities for engaging with people and connecting and the kind of context that you're using it in. So I mentioned we'll be using Android for that as a programming platform, but we will be moving, not just always launching into Android. There'll be points where we'll be kind of prototyping things, using some other software tools for prototyping. We have 3 different themes of kind of programming assignments, or sorry, I should say assignments in general. One of them are programming assignments, and one of them will go out today. And that's just what it means. It's usually you're going to be programming something. So I'll come to the first programming assignment in a minute. But the other one is design. And the design assignment, usually little to no programming, might be a little bit of programming, but it's really about some way you're using design or getting feedback about a design. It might be anything from just interviewing people, sketching, these kinds of, we're looking for your design work. You're not going to be uploading code in Bitbucket or something. And then we have also some feedback. So we'll be asking for feedback, not only for the class, but also feedback for groups and things like that. And then of course there's a final project, which is more this kind of back half of the class. The groups are going to form roughly in week 5, I think, might be excited for that. We're going to send out the first feedback assignment will be a questionnaire that we will get information about you to help us form the teams. So we'll figure out skill sets and we'll hopefully match people up. If you want to drop, the one thing, this is just like one of those let's be an adult kind of things, because if you wait and fill out the form and I put you in a group and then you drop, that screws everything up. Just if you're going to drop, do it before you fill out that form. Once you fill out that form, we're going to put you in a group, and then once we launch, and then we have to go wait, people drop. So that's a lot of time. It's probably like week 4. You should know whether you're dropping or not. So just know that. All right. It does have a heavy course workload. So this is not a, well, you just kind of kick back and it'll all work out for you. So there's a lot of programming, there's a lot of iterative design work, and because it's not just, oh, I got it compiled and I uploaded it, it's like, no, sometimes it's thinking hard, going and talking to people, getting feedback. You can't just sit in the computer lab and get everything to work for this class. You're going to have to engage with other contexts of use and things. So I already mentioned this about sort of having knowledge about working in groups and also having some programming knowledge. So we will show you, and as a lot of the GSIs and readers mentioned when they introduce themselves, they have a lot of great knowledge to impart to you about the course mechanics and tricks about getting some of the sort of software tools running, but they're obviously not going to sit there and go, well, this is a variable, and this is the kind of, no, we're obviously it's not a programming course. So office hours and all that stuff, I think some of it's on Piazza now. We also have this course webpage, which at least has the syllabus that you can look at. One thing about section this week is it's going to be, because I'm going to hand out the first programming assignment, which is really nothing about the watch yet. It's about programming an Android application on an Android device, phone. But you don't need a phone, you can do this with the emulator. But you'll need to actually install that, and in the section they're going to walk through more of an example of how you get everything running, how you program, and how you can iterate on using this tool, Android Studio. So it's not required to go to section, but the GSIs put in a huge amount of work, so I encourage you to go. Even if you're like, I already know Android, I'm good, you might learn something else. But one thing is we don't want to spend time in section going, hey, did everyone download Android? studio, let's all do it at the same time in like Soda Hall. Okay, so bring your laptop to section, download and install Android Studio, look on Piazza for all information about that, okay? I need to add anything about that? Okay. Sections for the first week, I already mentioned this issue. I don't know, okay, so here's the story about sections. So we're gonna probably condense some of the sections. So we have this sign up. So if you don't know about this already, the message is go on to Piazza, go and you can find a doodle on there and you can actually say, this is the section I want to go to. This is because we don't really care right now which section you go to. We didn't require you with Telebears to sign up to a particular section. That said, you cannot have 100 people in the very first section. So it's kind of reserve your slot for Friday. Go to that section. Please don't violate that because it's just gonna it'll be unfair because the room will be too packed. So we've got this great load balancing thing going for the first section. After next week, we're gonna probably tweak some of the sections. We might eliminate some based on some feedback, and then we will adjust that. And from that going forward, we'll have set sections. So that's the plan. Questions? Does that make sense? Is it clear about that? Oh, look, did you sign up? Because there's a sign in today. If you didn't sign up, you need to sign up for the attendance, so there it is. Okay. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong URL, sorry. You had the other ones were right, I copy and pasted the wrong thing. Okay, we're gonna also be doing readings in the class, and the way that works is the readings will be posted online at least a week or so out, and you'll see them on e-courses, and then there'll be different things we do with them. You're required to give some kind of a response. Sometimes it'll be a little written text, sometimes it might be uploading some sketches, there'll be different things we'll be doing. The first one is pretty straightforward. There's a reading, for example, I will push out right after class, you will see it. You read this before class next Monday. There's a reading response, you write, and it'll be graded. The grading is really, sorry, I should say a little bit. Oh, okay, I guess I have that a little bit later. I come back to the readings, sorry, mess up on the out of order thing. Yeah, okay, sorry, I'll come back. I know I got something out of order here, apologize. For reaching us, we're gonna use, of course we're on B courses, but most of the traffic, because I think most of you are more comfortable with Piazza, using that for a lot of the communication in the class. So that's a way to reach us. Don't email us directly, because often, as you saw, we have this awesome teaching staff, so any one of us can get to the question before, if you just mail me, for example. Okay. Okay. This is the sort of grading breakdown. This is also on all of the kind of, on the website. It's basically participation, which is attendance for the days that, I'll talk about attendance in a second, reading responses, in-class participation, stuff like that. The individual programming design assignments, so that's all these programming assignments that you do as an individual. That's 20%. There's a midterm, I already gave you the date. That's gonna be 25%, and then the big project will be worth more. So some issues about late projects. So if you want to hand in something late, this is also based on some feedback, so hopefully this is a little bit better policy. If you are handing an individual assignment, if it's up to 24 hours late, you just lose 10% of the grade. So if you want to really polish it up and just go, I'm only going to lose 10%. If you wait 24 or another day, 20%. If you wait another day, 40%. After that, we're not going to accept any. We don't want to see an assignment. Because we start grading it, it's just we can't accommodate like assignments coming in out of order. And of course, for official policies, you cannot cheat. Don't do that. Why would you do that? You're at Berkeley. Like, this is crazy. But I have to officially say these things. I don't want to deal with that. Neither do you. So what are we doing about attendance? Well, I'm here all the time, and I hope you guys are. It's going to be awesome. We're going to do some really cool design work. But also, I can't take attendance every time, and what we're going to do is you will hopefully come all the time because this is such an awesome class. Yes, it's awesome. But we are going to now say there are some required attendance days, and these are marked on the syllabus. These are the ones for sure that I know about, and I at least reserve the right to like add one or two. I'll tell you weeks and weeks out. I'm not going to surprise you. Like, it's like now you should have been here. I will be fair about it. But for example, today, hey, you made it. Great job. Okay. We have an in-class brainstorming session. We all have to be here. This is a big deal. We're in our groups. We're doing brainstorming. It's a really important day. Midterm, obviously, you've got to come to the midterm. And then these are other days where we're doing interactive prototyping. We're doing some presentations in class. We're doing very specific exercises. Most of these are after the midterm, if you notice. They're after spring break. And there might be a section that's actually required of everybody. We're working on that. So now you say, oh gosh, I have to be here. I counted, this is about 11 classes that I'm telling you to be here out of about 39 to 40. So don't come say, I hate that we have to come to class. It's such a drag. This is like 28% of the classes you have to attend. You should attend 100%, okay? So the reason I'm saying this is don't later, because it happens sometimes, people come and say, I can't come to that class. Here are the dates. If you know, again, you're getting married, you have some cool event, then let us know. We have to have you there, okay? So, questions about that? Okay. So, a little more on the assignments. So, of course, the assignments are posted on B courses. You'll find them. I keep the syllabus on the main website because sometimes I'll just make little changes to the readings and things like that there. If you look, it will tell you, like today, introduction, required class. Oh yeah, it's a required class. Actually, it says that wearable computing is required, but I already took that off. So that's, it's not required. In fact, I switched those two lectures. So Monday is actually design cycle, and Wednesday is wearable. So I pulled this off like a day before I changed it. But you'll notice assignment, reading response due before class on the 25th. The reading response you'll see on the website, you'll see on B courses right afterwards. We're going to hand out programming 1, which will be due, it tells you there, February 5th. And then design 1, watches in the wild, due also a little bit before class. This was the slide that was out of order. It's the reading responses, because I want to be a little more descriptive. So for at least the first one, it might be hard to get a little calibrated. There's going to be a reading, and then there's kind of a not really explicit question like true, false. It's more a statement like a prompt, and you as an HCI practitioner will respond to that. You'll think about the reading, and you will write some response. The response is not supposed to be 5 or 6 pages. It's something that is reflective of the actual context. Do you want to add something about what the response is, like the quality?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have to be super long. Just answer the question and answer it concisely. And more is not always better.
You want to say something about the grading?
Oh yeah, so 0 is going to be, I guess, if you don't turn anything in, or if it's clear that you just didn't do the reading at all. 2 is good, so that's full credit, and that means like understand the reading. And then 1 is going to be like partial credit. We can tell that you read the assignment, viewed the readings, but maybe you don't fully understand all the concepts.
Okay, thanks for it. Yeah, so our readers, many of them were readers before, and so they are very good at detecting the, oh my gosh, I showed up to class 5 minutes before, I got to do the reading response. They have super laser powers, and they will know that that is what you did. So be reflective. The readings actually are really important because actually things on the midterm, I don't mention everything in class, so there's also things from the reading. Also, just to be clear, because someone asked me last semester, wait, you told us you didn't have to go to all the classes. Can you ask us questions about the things you didn't tell us to go to class? Yes, everything in the class is game. Okay, so let me tell you a little about the first design assignment, because it's called Design 1, Watches in the Wild. And this is a design assignment, so you don't even really have to use your computer. You may use it to type things, you may take some pictures, but the whole description all again released right after class. But the goal is to introduce you to this idea of iterative design. That way during the main course project, the steps of the design process will be more familiar. So what you're going to do is you're going to observe and interview users brainstorm, kind of prototype and get feedback. But this is a very, very lightweight version of that. And the specifics are that we want you to go out and talk to some people about essentially using kind of smartwatches. You're not going to go up and say, hey, how's your smartwatch working for you? If you read the assignment, I'm not going to read the entire thing. It's going and finding people in a particular context. So you might want to find out how people use their technology now, like even a mobile phone, and where they might think about, like you could ask someone, there's examples in there, we'll put some more stuff on the kiosks, like when's the last time you struggled using your mobile phone? Like, oh, I was like trying to order something at the butcher shop and like the phone was ringing, like, okay, that's an insight, maybe that's a point of a design opportunity. You want to maybe pick some demographic. The only thing is, we don't want you to interview all your cool roommates or housemates or flatmates or, you know, it can't, there will be some time later where you can work a little bit with people in the class or the students, but we want you to go out, you know, people, and you touch a lot of people that aren't students, like, you know, a cafe, people that are like at a, you know, making some food, people that are selling things on the street, flower vendor. I mean, there's a lot of places to insight and to come up to people. We'll talk a little more next class about strategies to do that, and also it might come up in section about how to approach people and how to interact with them. But roughly, you're going to ask some questions, you're going to get some insights. You can then, we want you to brainstorm and come up with about a dozen or so ideas for what you might design. Prototype something, probably on just paper or cardboard. I'll show an example of that on Monday. Then you will actually bring it out to other people or the same people and get their feedback. So you will design some experience or some interaction or some application and what that might feel like, and then you will sort of reflect on that design. So that's the kind of cycle. Is that right? Basically. Okay. Now, we've also got the first programming assignment. It's called Crunch Time. And it has nothing to do with this picture, but Jeannie is going to tell you what it does have to do with.
Thanks. Okay, so the first programming assignment is going to be a simple, like, calorie converter, because, you know, a lot of people, for the theme of new semester, new me, hit the gym more, exercise more. So the main thing is, like, let's say you do 50 push-ups. You input, I did 50 push-ups into this app. They'll tell you, congrats, you burned 500 calories. Probably not that much, that's wishful thinking, but that's the premise of the app. It is not supposed to be a difficult assignment. The reason why you are getting this assignment is so you can get your emulator set up and running, and you can correctly deploy Android code. We're going to be going over this Friday in section, so if you don't know how to do that, that's fine, come to section. And most people do extremely well on this assignment. It is not very difficult to get 100%, and some people even go above and beyond because we offer up to 5 points of extra credit if you do things such as like make the user interface really nice, put some iconography in there, do some sort of extra credit things. So this is a good chance, if you take this assignment seriously, it is a good chance to boost up your grade and have like a safety net for the rest of the semester. I broke your mic. I'm sorry.
Not mine. It's all right. It's fine. We're almost at the end anyway. Okay, so just a little bit more on that is, one, there's going to be extra credit for other assignments. This is the easiest one. Trust me, this is the easy one to get extra credit on. You should do it. Also, I realize this. A lot of you are not like, oh, this sounds super lame. Like, why are we not building the future of all technologies? As Jeannie said, often we're going to work with very specific constraints. We're starting off with something very simple, but we're going to give you a lot of design latitude. So already you can think about even this basic, you can look at the full description of the rubric and things online. If I just input some activity and it calculates some kind of calorie count, what should that look like? Should it be a table? Should it be visual? Should it have some kind of visual communication with it? Now I know we haven't gone over all these concepts yet, but we'll give you a chance to start to flex your design muscle, and hopefully you'll embrace that. Part of this class is not just like, great, I got it to work, it compiled. We want you to really think hard about the user. You know, for example, if you made something that has like all these layers of screens, or you have to scroll around, or you can't read the text, these are problems. So think about as a user what that experience should be. Okay, so with that in mind, I remind you again, If this is not the class for you, if you have just decided you have stepped into the wrong place, please drop it. As you can see around the room, many people want to take this class and would love to be in here participating in it. So please, please take that walk and make that decision. I would love to be able to admit more people to class. For those of you that are still on the wait list, I will, like I said, I think I put a message on B courses or Piazza that I will, all the teaching staff will revisit what we want to do about the enrollment. Are there any questions? Do we want to add anything? Okay.
I have an announcement.
Oh, we have an announcement.
Professor Paulus mentioned this already, but I would like to reiterate, please download Android Studio before section on Friday. There will be a Piazza post going up shortly about how exactly you could do that and download links and stuff, but it's better to download it at home instead of 50 people using Super Hall's Wi-Fi.
One thing I didn't put on the slides, I'll just say it here, but it is obviously on the website. So my office hours are going to be Tuesday from 10 to 11, and I am one of the very few faculty that does sit in this building. My office is right downstairs in 210B Jacobs, so that's where you'll find me. So you already found the building, you're halfway there. All right, who's excited? We ready? Design, go. Okay. We'll see you on section, and then we'll see you on Monday, reading response, and we'll push out programming one, push out design one, push out reading response one, and we'll see you launching into stuff for section. Ah.